everybody, and welcome to the newest indoor adventure in the Four Keeps, Beneath the Waves, Part 12. Today is June 6th, 2022, better known as our very own RJ's birthday. Happy birthday, RJ! Another turn around the sun. That's the most important news that we could possibly share on this day. But if this is your first time checking in, we have a very important message for y'all, and that is, today is June 6th, 2022, and you are loved. That is a very important thing that we like to remind each and every single one of our viewers and listeners at the beginning of each and every single one of these games. If this is your first time joining us, you can go to youtube.com/indooradventures to check up on the VODs of each of the games that we have played up until this point, or you can go towards where anywhere audio casts are being made available for free. You can find us there under the same moniker. And speaking of things that are being made available for free, if you go to patreon.com/indooradventures, you can check up on our after show called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from each other, but also from the community. So if you got any questions for us, again, you want to hear those answers, well, Patreon's the best place to do it. But let's say you want to ask those questions. Sure, the Twitch chat is great. The Twitch chat's wonderful, but it goes so fast sometimes that it's difficult for us to actually be able to track that. So instead, you should join us on our Discord. The link can be found in the Twitch chat to the side, or in the description of this video or audio cast down below. We'd love to see you there. All you got to do is just join that Questions for the Courts chat. It's free, it's open, completely available, and we will do our best to respond to the questions that you pose to us in kind. But let's say that you already support us on YouTube, you already support us on Twitch and Patreon and all of those other wonderful places, and you're trying to think to yourself, where can I go to help support this fantastic show even more? Well, guess what, buddy? I got your back. Quite literally, in fact, because if you go to indooradventure.redbubble.com, we got t-shirts, we got posters, we got mugs, we got crop tops, throw pillows, shower curtains, aprons, clocks, journals, and we also have face masks. That's right, we got face masks with the symbol of Tiamat upon them, designed by our very own Cyberwolf1201, and all the proceeds of our merch is currently going to help support Doctors Without Borders, and will continue to do so until the world as a whole kind of calms down a little bit. Doesn't look like anytime soon, so we're going to keep supporting charity. It's a great time. It's a great time. So again, consider it. Go to indooradventure.redbubble.com. That is indooradventure, no S at the end, .redbubble.com. But that is it for my opening spiel. So hey, RJ, who you playing today?
Hey everybody, I am RJ, and today I'm playing Caelum, the Shatterkai Wizard. We both go by he, him.
Happy birthday, RJ. Hi, I'm LBHackEmUp. I'll be playing Gwen, the Halfling Barbarian Fighter tonight. We both go by she, her.
Happy birthday, RJ. I'm Cyber. I go by he, him. He, him, or any. Whatever. I play Arjhan. Arjhan is a draconian deadline. He goes by he, him.
RJ birthday happy. Hi everybody, I'm Wings, also known as Danae Keener. I'm going to be playing as Cori under the Eldrin Paladin. I use she, her pronouns. Cori uses she, they, and he.
And I am the Indoor Adventurer, he, him, and tonight I shall be your Dungeon Master. So, last we left off, we were on the Island of Paradise. It was a great time had by all. Cori was just finishing up with a lovely date with Oliviette, having gotten to a bar first thing in the morning and decided, we're going to close this place out until it got later on in the evening, and you realized it's actually kind of tiring to close out a bar when you're there all day. But you stayed at least long enough so that way you could see the bardic performance, enjoy the finer things about the beverages that they had to offer. And it was at that point that you decided to make your way back to the Moonrunner. Thankfully so, as Arjhan and Gwen had made a little trip into the Island of Paradise itself, gone to things that make you say, wow, to discover that the new management wanted to speak with regular customers to sort of gauge any kind of structural reformation, where you ended up meeting this strange entity that you, the two of you anyways, had never seen before. And Gwen, you received an excellent chain that I forgot to stat out, but it's still super sick, that you can attach to your weapons to actually pull your enemies closer, which you discovered was one of your few, we won't call it a weakness or a shortcoming, but it was an area you could improve upon.
Racist.
No, wow. In Pride Month in this game? How dare you? But you were able to get this chain that would allow your great axe to return to you when you threw it at enemies, being super cool. Arjhan, you also ended up getting a Rolodex containing the interplanar locations and multiverse, like, significant zones for a total of 14 Arjhans, meaning 13 different versions of yourself, which was the first thing I did earlier today, was finish that. So if you want to check out the spoiler territory tag in our Discord section, all of the Arjhans are there with their names, classes, all of that. The only class that doesn't exist there is Artificer, because that is where the dragon existed from, because all of this was put in motion a little bit ago. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It was at that point that Caelum, you and Arjhan discovered that this spear that Arjhan had purchased housed a spirit within it. Attuning to the spear, summoning the spirit forward, you found out that the spirit was not all there up in his spectral cranium. It was at that point that, thanks to Arjhan's greater restoration, you were able to restore all of the lost hit points in the intelligence attribute, and restore this spirit known as Hiram back from his stupor. It was at that point that Hiram seemed a little iffy as far as letting Caelum attune to the weapon, being a weapon of the long since past Kadrum Empire. It would seem, oh JD, thank you for the sub. It would seem that there was a little bit of a delay between the last thing that Hiram remembered and then not having the intelligence of one, while being attuned to a wizard. RJ, I did send you the stats for that spear, and for the rest of the party who would have been privy to this as well. This is what attuning to the Spear of Hiram does. It allows you proficiency with spears. You may cast the shield spell as a reaction. You gain +2 to attack and damage rolls with this magic item. And when you hit with an attack roll using this spear, the target takes an extra 1d8 of radiant damage. So it's a pretty nice spear. As Hiram said, he was the commander of the 3rd Legion within the Kadrum Empire. And this spear kind of goes the distance as far as determining that. Then, now that the party had realigned, you decided that your best bet was at least to take Shao home, this bird folk that you had not only encountered, but saved from vampire slavers, where you were to go to Orzaris, the land of flying blades. Upon going to the land of flying blades, a period of time that would take you roughly a week of seafaring travel, before you even made your way, I had a question that I wanted to ask that I forgot about last time. You have 2 ships. I believe you just took the Moonrunner to get there? Or did you take Redemption?
Oh, we took both.
Took both. Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. I couldn't remember if it was 1 or 2, so I'm glad that you all remember this game that we play. So again, thankfully, both ships made your way out there, and along that way, Caelum, you were able to communicate more with Hiram, find out more about the Kadrum Empire. So, because I did not have the information at the ready last time, and it is still part of the recap, what kind of questions were you curious about for Hiram? Or are you just looking for, like, a general suave?
General suave, and then if something piques his interest, he'll like dial in on it.
Okay, sounds good. So, things that Hiram would have let you know. Previously, I remembered that you had asked, had he been wielded by anyone else before you? Turns out that he had. He had been wielded by Amir the Eagle, Sidon the Sun's Grace, Ashur, son of Asim, who Hiram as he describes it, he says that Ashur was a individual who was like preposterously beautiful, not only in combat, but also out of his combat regions. And one of the things that Hiram states is that unlike anyone that he had ever met and anyone that had ever been in the Kadrum Empire previously, it was said that Ashur was a twin soul, that inside of his body not only was his spirit, but the spirit of a celestial being as well. And you're guessing that this might be a record of one of the first Aasimar to ever be on this plane. And Hiram was their weapon. And then the first to use Hiram was Asaradon the Beloved. Asaradon the Beloved being just like a people's champion, could do no wrong, beloved not only by the laity, but also by the ruling classes, that sort of thing. Hiram in his life never married, had no children, did have a romantic interest though, being Mari, daughter of Shiana. Shiana being one of the higher up members of Kadrum society. And it was one of those like a forbidden love. They would see each other in passing, but like they could never really be together. And that was something that Hiram had to like basically just stomach as they realized that their duty to the Empire was like, that was what was needed of him. As much as he would have loved to be with this person, he was unable to.
A question for Hiram. For the honor-bound duty of teaching the next generation your current disposition, is anyone selected, or is it primarily scholars, warriors, that sort of thing?
He explains that it is essentially like a symbol of honor, like receiving a medal in battle, or like if you were the first person, like Galileo, where in our world, Galileo was then put on trial for being a crazy person for putting a shit ton of glass together so that way he could see into the stars. If that was the case in the Kadrum Empire, he would have gotten turned into an item so that way his genius would be allowed to continue throughout the generations.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
However, Hiram also explains that being turned into a weapon, while the greatest honor that one could possibly receive within the Kadrum Empire, was also the greatest punishment imaginable. In that criminals, like war criminals, that sort of thing, they would get turned into weapons and then buried and purposely forgotten within the catacombs so their soul could never find peace outside in an afterlife. They would never go to the hells. They would never go to Elysium. They would never go anywhere other than staying within this weapon, buried in the ground until they forgot their own existence.
That sets a very dangerous precedent, Hiram, because you were wielded by some sort of monster afterwards, and we have heard tale of some of these weapons, some of your people making it topside.
And Hiram, at that, attempts to reassure you that these dangerous criminals, at least that were officially turned into weapons, they were stored in what he believes like the most secure location possible. No one could ever get in, that
Caelum
sort of
gives
thing.
him a very weak smile.
However,
yeah.
throughout Hiram's time, officially, that was like, again, like the greatest punishment, the greatest honor. There was a guild, like a roguish thieves guild, shadow organization, simply known as the Hands, who also were capable of doing this thing. So some of the worst individuals that the Kadrum Empire had to offer as well, if they were part of this shadowed organization, possibly could work their way in.
So you're telling me that at some point in time the Empire needed to catch these hands?
He nods. And he explains that they were the followers of one of the... let me just count the number here. One of the 5 primary deities of the Kadrum Empire.
Could you tell me who your deities are?
Gladly. And he explains that out of the list of domains, knowledge, life, light, nature, trickery, war, that sort of thing, that each of those were divided amongst these 5 deities. The 5 deities being the Weaver, the Vixen, the Schemer, the Scholar, and the Smiling One.
Huh. Could I roll some sort of history check to match up portfolios, see if any of our current deities are analogous to them?
Sure can.
Motherfucking Smiling One. 23.
A 23. So you would know, as far as analogous goes, because as far as Hiram has explained, he is aware of Mistral as a deity. He explains that Mistral to the Kadrum is like, that was part of one of the the Eastern religions that belonged to one of the groups that the Kadrum were fighting against. But what they would know them as would be the Scholar. So a lot of much in the same way that historically, again, in our world, Judeo-Christian beliefs, oh, you believe that thing? Or I guess Greco-Roman, where it's like, oh, your guy does all of that. Well, this guy also does that thing. He just goes by a different name. So a lot of the deities that they had were either simplified or broken down, as they believed that these 5 were able to maintain the balance. And when he explains and goes down the list of the deities, knowledge being for the Scholar, the Vixen being in charge of life, light, and nature, the Schemer being in charge of war and the tempests and storms, the Weaver being in charge of the forge and arcane and order. But the Smiling One was in charge of only one portfolio, and that was trickery.
Okay.
And then when he also asks, because you had asked, oh, how old are you? His initial response would have been, what year of the Emperor's Grace are we in? Tell me, do we still use the Great Table of Saldus Mal?
History check.
Yeah, roll that history check.
Do some fucking mental math here. 24 this time.
24? You have no idea what that means. But you're guessing if he's saying things like Mistral was a neighboring god, and you know that he existed in a society that is now beneath an ocean. This dude's old.
How old were you biologically before you were turned into a weapon?
He says that he was 40.
Okay.
And you had also asked last week what groups that the Kadrum were at war against. He explains that to the east, there was Austeranaus, which was on the eastern front, and to the west, it's not necessarily that they were at war, but they could never make it past an area known simply as the Mother's Gate. And he explains that the Mother's Gate was a residual bleed from the primordial nature of the Feywild. That they weren't able to get past it. This wasn't an established area, but it was almost like, again, like the Feywild itself was just emerging into this area. Like, the trees were wild. Everything was just far... It was impassable in the sense that they, even with their wizards, even with the might of their arcana, even with the strength of their soldiers, they never figured out a way to march through this area to proceed west.
Do you remember any conditions of this Mother's Gate? Was it perpetually snowy? Was it hot as a summer's day?
He explains that the temperatures and the weather was like staring into the center of chaos itself. That one minute it could be blisteringly hot, like you were at the heart of a forge, and the next moment it could be like in the negatives as far as temperature goes, like people getting frostbite. There was no way to properly attune yourself to like any kind of gear that would allow you to survive these climates.
Like the royal of an elemental sea.
Very similar, yes.
Hiram, I wonder if I could take you somewhere.
Hiram is on board for you taking him places, because you did say that you would take him back home at one point.
During this journey, Caelum will attempt to trance with Hiram.
Okay, he's
And take
not
him
an
to the
elf,
library.
but yeah. Make an Arcana check to bring a spirit you're attuned to.
I mean, if I could take Gwen's been to the library.
There were some conditions.
There was some that's a 30.
Okay, 30 is exactly what you needed to be able to do this.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys are dealing in high-level D&D. It's not a simple check anymore.
We're getting to the Pathfinder numbers now, all right?
Hey, I mean, you got Pathfinder bonuses, so it kind of helps. But on this journey, you trance, you bring Hiram along, and he is, like, when he's here, he's no longer in this, like, spectral form. He no longer looks weathered. His gear doesn't look, like, battered at all. He looks like a prime fighter, and you see him take off his helmet. He has darker skin, black hair, dark brown eyes, more of an aquiline nose, and he is just like baffled by this place.
Welcome to the Library of Saloon.
And he squints his eyes and says that he does not know who that is, but in this way he will be happy to be at any library.
Caelum will point off to the elemental royal that's going on off the plateau. Something like that, then. Your Mother's Gate.
And he peers and says that it is similar, but it is too nebulous to be where he was, to be the gates of the Mother.
Well, it was worth a shot. Yeah. If anything, Caelum's gonna show him around, and then I think that's the end of the line of questioning for him.
Hiram, like, you take him into this library and, like, basically open the doors. Here's what you missed on Glee. Like, him just like, oh my god, yes! And, like, he's a strong fighter, but he's missed out on a lot. And you have a library that is full of everything someone could have ever missed out on. So he is totally content being here.
For the week-long, like, trip there, Caelum will try and bring him back in so he can essentially catch himself up on whatever he needs to.
Yeah. Sounds good. Okay. And that is... Oh, last thing that he would have let you know is the name of the Emperor, but the name of the Emperor means nothing to you. It would be His Reverence the Waking Sun, Hilani the Ninth.
Oh, one last question, Hiram. Have your people's weapons been known to take over the wielder?
And there is a pause, and he explains that there is no precedent, but there were exceptions. It's not a common thing, but every once in a while, one of the, like, if it was a weapon from the hand, from this shadow sect, that kind of thing, what their initiation was is that, okay, we have like a master thief, like as a dagger. Okay, we have like a master assassin as a bow. Their personality would take over a new hire, and you would essentially just have that same master assassin, master thief until that weapon was removed, until you could cure the curse.
With this information, he's going to update the party. Hey, when we do seal Caius away in a weapon, we should not touch it at all. There might be a possibility that he could still take you over the attunement, more or less.
Oh, okay. So, like, don't touch it for a long time?
Don't touch it ever.
All right, safety gloves on.
Don't think that would help, but yeah, you know,
Couldn't hurt.
couldn't hurt.
Okay, so all of that happened on the trip to Orzaris. By the time that you finally arrived, hey, guess what? We're a half hour into the show, still in the recap. By the time that you actually got to Orzaris, you saw that there was a trawler already docked at the boat. This kind of like one-manned ship that seemed to have like a chimney stack and what appeared to be like a steamboat turn at the end, to which your friend Xiao exclaimed that how excited they were that it would appear that the Seeker of the Finest had come to the Land of Flying Blades. Just super down about that. And it was at that point that you walked up the long pathway to of the Shimmering Eyrie. It was there that you saw that there were weather-worn tapestries, that this beautiful building was looking a little worse for wear, to say the least. As far as upkeep, it looks like it had been more so turned into like a miniature fortress, kind of like a good example would be Helm's Deep in the Lord of the Rings, where like once a beautiful city, okay, like we're in war times, and you're guessing that their war times, based on what Xiao has said, have not stopped for quite some time. But this building is still known as the Shimmering Eyrie. It was at that point that you made it to the topmost landing, where Xiao was reunited with his father. They embraced into a mutual like father-son. I'm so glad that you're back. These are my friends. And as they were explaining that, you noticed a familiar figure, a tuxedo-styled tabaxi, who had been standing, speaking with the ruler of the Brightwardens, that you would recognize as swift as the 10 winds, but who currently goes by, to all of these folk, the Seeker of the Finest. And that is where we will start off, is that Swift has made eye contact with you all. And while Xiao and Aisha begin to kind of like speak with each other, Aisha being like, what happened? Where did you go? And Xiao begins like this long process of like explaining to him. Swift will come up and just, long time no see, ya.
You son of a bitch. Gwen's gonna hug them.
Yeah, and he'll like, he seems a little like taken aback by this and just, I didn't know we were on hugging terms, but I won't turn it down, yeah.
Hey, I've seen almost the end of the world a few times now, so it's good to see a familiar face.
No, I will be as familiar as you need me to be.
What are you doing here?
Well, typically when I make my spice runs for Fang, I travel these seas. I go to the gates of paradise. I was in Nymar, looking to acquire well, you understand, peppers and the like. And while I was there, I had heard that, well, an old friend was in a little bit of trouble. His son had been kidnapped, as it were. So I decided to come over here and find out what all the hubbub was about, only to see that you've already solved that problem. Yeah.
Well, it is what we do. We have been all... Wait, when was the last time we saw you? Like...
I believe I was serving you drinks. He didn't have wings. And you challenged me to a fight.
Was I drunk?
Quite a bit, yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah,
Seems
so...
you've all been through a lot. Your eye is different. Again, he has wings.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
That's still Cori. And he points in, like, Cori being male presenting in summer form.
Yeah.
I am indeed. It has to have been, what, 2 years here?
At least, yeah.
Oh, it's good to see you, Swift. You look like you're doing well for yourself.
I try.
Well, since I've seen you, me personally, I have become the chieftain of my tribe. I met my god. He took my eye for like a job, and I was able to get something for him, and then he sent me back because I had died. I actually died twice, like repetitively in a row. I got sucked into like this black star sort of thing, and I got disintegrated. It was really traumatic for everyone involved.
Arjhan, 1,000-yard stare.
Actually, we all... It was a lot. It's a long story, but we went to the moon. We went to the Feywild. We went to the Hells. We went to the Shadow Plane. Something. Yeah, we've been around. I got married.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's absolutely wonderful to hear, yeah.
What about you?
I sailed around for a little bit, made my way here, found what I was looking for, heard a friend was in danger, and decided to help. My adventuring days, as far as all of this, not necessarily behind me, more so that these waters are where myself, Fang, Alindra, traveled primarily.
Have you been back to Shroudport?
Not in
Recently?
some time, yeah.
Were you there when they were taking over and couldn't do magic there?
No, but you did warn me that such a thing was going to occur. I don't know why you bothered to inform me of this, as I am not a magic man myself, but the warning was still appreciated.
Of course. Well, they were taken over by
You informed
worm
me worm people?
Yes, we liberated them. Go ahead. You can explain it better.
Well, I don't know how much of it is actually relevant, but you mentioned you were looking to help out a friend. We actually are we would like to talk to that friend because we got a son, yay, and might need his help.
Well, of course. Aisha is a man of his word, and he quite loves his children. If you've returned his son, I'm sure that he'd be more than willing to help you out, yeah.
Yeah.
Are we still going in that direction, or?
You're, like, in the same room. Like, Aisha and Xiao are, like, maybe, like, 20 feet away from where you guys are.
Cool.
And it is around the time that their conversation wraps up that you see Aisha, like Xiao, like, points motions towards you guys, and thankfully you've been able to hear all of the primordial speak that is happening as Cori last session was able to bestow a little bit of his summer season towards the rest of you to be able to actually understand Ignan, so you can understand spicy air language as well as regular air language. So thankfully, that's a plus. But at this point, Aisha, again, makes his way towards you. And he, like, as he, like, approaches you, you can tell that there is, like, a look of determination. And when he stands in front of you, you see him kneel, and then he puts his face down towards the ground.
Oh, please, no, don't. You don't need
And
to.
he deeply bows to the fort.
He can do it. That's fine.
And you
Arjhan and Gwen are just like, yes.
and like the rest of the guards are like, what the hell? And like Xiao, seeing this, also takes after his father in stride and bows deeply.
Ooh,
And
boy.
Aisha then stands and rises, or like sits back up and then rises from his kneeling position. And says in Orin, thank you. Xiao is the next to rule. He is next in line to lead the Brightwardens against the Nightsworn. Without Xiao, I am uncertain as to how long this war would be able to continue. You have my deepest thanks, and I am humbled by your presence. And like the guards are just like, what? Who the fuck are these guys? Like they don't know who you are. They don't know what you've done. But like Aisha saying this, and then you see like Aisha like extends a finger up, and they are immediately silenced.
Cori has given us the ability to understand Ignan,
Yes.
Indeed.
but not speak it.
Indeed. Cori can be the mouthpiece if need be. Whatever you want to say, Cori can translate.
Thankfully, you have the most charisma out of this group.
Rude, but
I
okay.
mean, we have some targets that we would like to hit, and we need to see this altar.
We are very thankful for your appreciation. Is he an
Or-
emperor? What is he?
Essentially.
Okay. Emperor Asha.
Do they have a? Is there an Ignan word for emperor, or is it?
Well, if you look at the etymology of things, it'd probably be something around fire or sun.
It would probably be an Orin, actually.
Anyways, thank you, Your Majesty. We appreciate it. We have some requests, if you don't mind.
And Aisha, when you say that you have some requests, says, and I will hear them. But first, a feast. To celebrate the return of my son.
Okay.
And when he says this, like, there is again, like, murmuring among the guards. But the murmuring is more like, it doesn't seem as excited as it should be. It is more, you can hear the mild questioning of, do we have enough food for a feast?
Mm.
I could take care of that.
And Aisha says you will do no such thing.
It might be rude to impose on someone else's hospital, or like
Refuse.
one up
Yeah.
someone's hospitality.
They're already straining their resources as they are in this war. I don't feel great about it, but all right,
So-
sure.
So reject. whoever can speak, reject the feast.
Lord Aisha, we are humbled by your gratitude and your offer, but our time is short, and we would prefer to rest quietly and then continue our mission.
Make a persuasion check.
Can do.
Like
19.
The 19.
pushy
That's not good.
grandma. Here, eat.
He insists. And when he says he insists, the murmuring of the guards quiets again.
It would be our honor.
Okay. And then Aisha says that the Seeker of the Finest will be in charge of making this grand feast. The Seeker is the greatest chef that the Brightwardens have ever known. And they would love nothing more than to share their meal with you all.
Gwen just... Sorry.
Caelum's gonna ask Xiao a question real quick.
Sure.
Xiao, on this island, how do you primarily get your food? Is it an agricultural sort of thing, or are you hunters, fishers?
Column A, column B. They have a lot of like hanging vegetables, like a lot of legumes, that sort of thing. Then they also do a lot of fishing as well.
Thank you. Hey, Cori.
I'm already planning on it.
Cool.
Are you gonna
I'm
like
sure that-
meteor swarm into the ocean and just blast a bunch of fish to the surface?
No!
You crazy
Plant
person.
growth.
Plant
no.
growth.
Yeah, no.
Goober.
Corey's certain that Coralon will bless them with a bountiful harvest this year.
Okay.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm gonna go dynamite fishing and destroy some coral reefs.
Let's go just destroy an ecosystem, shall we?
Yeah, for fun.
To be
That'll
fair,
solve
Is
their
that not
problem.
what we're doing?
right?
Let's commit some bioterrorism.
Oh my
Are
god.
we the baddies?
Yes.
Yes.
We're the bad guys.
Duh.
Whee!
So we're
We're in it today.
feasting.
Yeah.
Okay. So the feast itself is going to take at least 2 hours to prepare. In the meantime, Xiao offers to show you around. And taking you through the halls, he explains, like, he shows you, like, this is my room. And you can see that his room is not nearly as grandiose as the room that he had made in Caelum's Curious Cabin. But when you look at it, it looks roughly the same, but it's smaller. And you have the idea that when Xiao made his room, he was remembering it in the same way as a child does when you think about what your room was as a kid, how much bigger it was, how much cleaner it was. And it seems like Xiao was more making a memory, or making that room based off of a memory of what it used to look like. And then as Xiao is continuing to show, you hear a whooshing sound, followed by a lighter voice, yelling brother, as a smaller Aarakocra swarms in and just tackles into Xiao. And you see that there is a smaller Aarakocra, wearing what looks to be more like flowing robes, with it's almost like a backpack, but it doesn't have like a canvas wrapping on it. It's more like how you would stack wood if you were carrying it on your back with like a little addition, but it's just filled with scrolls. And she is so happy. You can see that tears are coming out of her Aarakocran eyes. And he says, I would like to introduce you to the ones who saved me. These are the 4 keeps.
Hello.
Hello.
And my, again, just like a very deep bow. And she says, "Thank you for saving my idiot brother."
I like her.
And Xiao, like,
Okay.
kind of like straightens up and he's like, "I was taken. I would not." And she sort of looks at him and she said, "Well, I didn't get taken, which means I was smart. So," Xiao just, "I was."
I
Why are
see
you
we
like
have the
this?"
wise one of the family.
And
He's got a
she
point.
like gracefully nods. And at that, you hear a old voice. Just, "Princess Mai, it's really unbecoming of a princess to, oh, hello." And you see an old bird. You ever seen a bird? Have you ever seen an old bird in real life where like their like feathers are kind of like molted away from their eyes? Like, you are guessing if Xiao is like in like the single digits still, this bird is easily over 30. Like, he is pushing, like, he could kick at any day now. And he sees you all and just, "My apologies for the behavior of the princess. I am Atris, mystic. Humbled to meet your acquaintance, saviors of Xiao."
Pleasure to meet you. We are the 4 keeps.
Adding that to my list. Savior of Xiao.
And remember, Xiao is spelled Xiao.
I remember. It is lovely to meet you, both of you. I am Guinevere Stomp. Well, no, she wouldn't say that. I am Gwen Stompfoot. I am I was gonna say the Caelum. I'm not a Caelum. I'm the chieftain of the
doesn't know
Tread
that.
Thunder. I am the Caelum of the Fallen Leaves. No. I am the chieftain of the Tread Thunder Goliath tribe. And these are my friends. I will let them introduce themselves because Gwen doesn't want to give too much away.
And
I
Gwen,
don't
you see
want
that
to.
like he was like trying his hardest to listen to you, and he reaches back into a bag and pulls out a horn and just pop.
Oh. Oh no.
Oh, I am Guinevere. I'm Gwen Stompfoot.
I can hear you fine now. You
Okay,
don't need
okay,
to yell.
sorry.
That's what the horn's for.
I am chieftain of the Goliath tribe, the Tread Thunder clan. This is Caelum. This
Tundra
is
Thread
Arjhan.
clan.
Yep. This is Arjhan. And this is Cori, Caelum of the Fallen Leaves.
Hello.
Ardon,
It's nice to
Carrie.
meet you. Mm-hmm. Oh, Carrie. That's sticking. So you were the previous leader, correct?
No.
Yep. Nope. Okay.
No, that was Doran. He was but a child. I have raised 3 generations of the First Light. Xiao and Mai being some of my more unruly pupils.
Kids, right? Will you be joining us for dinner?
Yes, there will
Oh.
be dinner.
Yes. You should sit next to
Yes.
Caelum. Caelum would love to talk to you.
Sit next to the Caelum.
Yeah. Yes. Sit next to the Caelum.
And
Atris nods.
Atris, sorry, Xiao, I think this is where I'll separate from the group.
Yeah, Xiao, like, understandable. Don't go too far. Atris can be a little long-winded sometimes.
Oh, perfect. Atris, I have some questions that Xiao had given me ideas for.
what has
And we
that
can-
boy gotten into now?
And, like, as you, like, "Okay, Grandpa, it's time for sleep," like, motioning him away, just,
We will resume your studies after the feast.
And she, like, looks up at Shao and has this look like, we're not gonna continue. He's gonna eat a lot and fall asleep.
Just give him turkey and wine, then he'll just conk right out.
It's like Thanksgiving.
Yep. So, Atris, you and Caelum, Atris and Caelum will begin making their way down one of these halls, and Shao will continue the tour with Arjhan, Cori, and Gwen. And yeah, hope it's not like Thanksgiving with a big old bird waiting for everybody to feast on in the middle of the fucking plate. Shao takes you on the rest of the tour, and during the course of this tour, we'll show you like the inner area of the Shimmering area where they do a lot of their hanging gardens, a lot of where their food production is to kind of facilitate this. It's not, he doesn't describe it as an influx of people coming from out where it's more of like it's a diaspora kind of thing, but it is more of the Nightsworn keep encroaching further and further, closer and closer to the Shimmering area, forcing out members of the Brightwardens and those that they would keep safe to return back to the Shimmering Keep. So this is sort of to alleviate some of the pressures on the food. And looking in, you can see that it is sparse. It's not looking the best by any means, but it's enough. And
not looking the best, like
it is
any bits of like possible famine.
Not famine necessarily, but it is more of the difference between using fertilizer and then having bad soil. Like, it just looks like if they have like green beans, for example, the green beans look very shriveled, like they don't look ripe, or like the tomatoes that come in are very small rather than looking large and juicy. Like, it looks like they are able to produce food, but it is never enough that you are able to, like, that you would be able to sustain a size like that it would sustain more. They would need to create more space or have a higher turnover with their crops.
Is there nothing that a purified food or drink would be able to help with?
Not that you're guessing. And then Shao, from there, like, he introduces you to Yuki. Yuki being the head of this farming area. And Yuki acts as, Shao explains that Yuki acts as the liaison between the first son and those that are protected by them. So the second, third, and fourth son groups they all go to Yuki when they need something brought up to the first son. And kind of continues on through this journey until eventually you reach the areas with the second son, third son, fourth son, and each group is more excited and thankful than the last that Shao has returned. And Gwen, you even see that there is like one Aarakocra that comes and like offers you like a woven basket. There's nothing in the basket, but it's a very nice basket.
She will use some rope to tie it around her shoulder, and she gets Cori to say thank you. And that she loves it.
Yeah, and they nod in appreciation. Likewise, Arjhan, you're presented with a what looks like a kebab of dried fish, and they just hand it to you, and again, just like watch you expectantly, and it's, God, does this food need seasoning? It's bland, but like they're trying their best to be. Like, they're, like, excitedly watching you eat it.
I'm just like...
And as you do,
the
they're
thing
all
where
just
you,
like, oh my
shove the
god,
kebab, like lengthwise into your mouth and just like get everything off and just like.
Oh yeah,
as
no, they
quickly
are.
as I can.
They are all just like, wow, 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 wow. Like, you can hear in Orin, like them commenting, like he is so big, he must consume so much food. Like they are just like baffled by the sheer size of Arjhan, but just like in their form of thanks, like they want to be the ones to give you all of the food that you would need. And it is at that point that like seeing you just getting like, I really don't know if I can keep taking this, Shao will like let them know that a feast is coming, to hold on to the food that they have. His father will provide. The First Light will provide, as they always have. And the fourth son all nod in agreement to this. And it is at that point that Shao begins then with you all making your way back up, and he explains the situation as a whole, where they didn't have to used to take on this many survivors from the Nightsworn. There didn't used to be a need to house this many. And while the Shimmering Eyrie is sized to be able to hold more than this, if it was the entirety of those that the First Light had been sworn to protect, there would not be room for both this group and their military power to exist in the same area, in the same slot. They wouldn't be able to coexist with the amount of space and resources that they need to be able to properly function. And as Shao is saying this, you see a much larger, like they look like an eagle, whereas Shao looks like a hawk, and this eagle is a female Aarakocra. And they kind of like immediately puts Shao down, as far as like effectively saying like the Brightwardens are more than strong enough to be able to house everyone and still provide. And this individual introduces themselves as Hylan.
What is their role?
Shao informs you that they are the commander of the King's Guard.
Shao, who's in charge of your military?
And Shao informs you that his father is, and someday he will be.
I mean, if it's okay with you, I'd like to talk to him about his strategy and like kind of get a lay of the land.
Shao says that you have already asked to
right
to have a one-on-one conversation, or not one-on-one, but a four-on-one conversation with his father. That would be a perfect time to bring that information up. And Hylan, overhearing this, her common is not as good as Shao's, and so that information kind of just like she's not able to parse everything that's coming by.
Thumbs up.
But she
Great
does.
job.
She does again kind of like neg Shao a little bit, being like, you just came back from being kidnapped. You should have an entourage of guard with you at all time. To which Shao haughtily replies, "These are my friends and my guardians."
Big strong.
And in Hylan, you can see just like, like she's not 110% sold on this, but you know, Shao is the prince, and whatever he says is kind of, she has to accept that.
If she wants, I could fight her later.
Do you propose a challenge to to showcase your strengths?
I think that Gwen would say, if my might is in question and Hyland would like to see my strength up close, I'd be more than willing to give a demonstration.
And Hylan looks at Xiao as kind of like, can you translate for this? And Xiao, you hear him effectively like relay the message. But like when you say this, he looks at you and there's just that mutual like, yeah, we closed that gap. Like for sure, let's do this. And so yeah, should you so choose as part of the feast, there can be a duel between Gwen of the Goliaths and Hylan, commander of the Kingsguard.
Yes. Murder hobo activate.
Just that I'm gonna wreck it. Like,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah. Okay, and Gwen, as you challenge the Kingsguard to a friendly bout with probably nothing at stake, Caelum, you had questions for Atris as you had separated from the rest of your party to speak with him.
I hope I'm not imposing, but I was wondering if there was some sort of library or repository of knowledge here.
And Atris will nod and say, yes, that is where he was teaching Mai up until she heard tell that her brother was there, and then she immediately flew off. But you will have to help him, as his legs don't carry him as readily as they used to.
Yeah, sure. He'll help them towards wherever this library is. As they're walking, Xiao mentioned that there is a cavern your people guard. Tale behind it is some mad mage was trying to bring a fiend through.
And Atris, you can see, gets a little bit more of a grim expression as he realizes that this friendly conversation about, oh, you like books? I like books. Who's your favorite scholars? Now, hey, that thing, though. And he explains,
he was not trying to bring a fiend through necessarily, but rather he was trying to become something greater, something more. And in a way, he succeeded.
Caelum gives him the, oh, yeah, I know that part. I think at this point he's basically piggybacked Atris.
yeah, and Atris is like, just this like,
Yoda.
oh, he's like, you're guessing that this dude, all things considered, is probably like 80 pounds tops. Yeah. No, like he might be like a big, like he's like a medium-sized creature, but he's very
Bird
light.
bones, though.
Yeah, he has bird bones. He's a very light individual, and especially like being an old, frail man, he's just like on your back, and he kind of like brings his wings forward, so you have like almost like a cloak of his wings on as you continue to walk forward. And he explains that originally the library was full of things like poems, common phrases, fables, that sort of thing. But it was never anything substantial, much to the chagrin of the Brightwardens. But it wasn't until God, what is the right word for it? It wasn't until the mentor of his mentor, Racket the Great, established that that there was a need to record the histories, to find the stories. And so there isn't, you would think that there wouldn't be much, but when you enter into this area, it is just filled.
I think Caelum pauses in the doorway and he closes his eyes and just takes an inhale to get like that old paper smell.
Oh, it is rife with old paper smell. And not only that, Caelum, but there is a, like, as you look, though, there is that, like, creeping level of anxiety. You are in another culture's personalized library. What's the sorting system? Because they don't have books, they have scrolls that have been shoved and squirreled into high places, low places. Like, they are a flight-based creature, a flight-based culture. There aren't ladders. There are just holes in the wall as far as it goes up that are just packed and filled with scrolls.
Oh.
And Atris asks,
So, what kind of histories are you looking for?
and
Maybe
you can guess, this bird, again, over 30, he probably started organizing these things 30 years ago. Like, back when he was still young, like, that was his first, like, one day I will die and this library will be yours, sort it as you need.
So he has his own personal sorting system in his
Yes.
head.
Oh, yeah, and, like, again, he's intelligent. He's...
But old.
But old. And he might not know where things are, so you might have to help him.
Perhaps anything regarding the cave and the mage behind it, if you've done any research, or your people have done any research into it. We're sort of following his trail at the moment.
I'm gonna make an insight check against you after you're like, oh, so he's like trying to summon a demon, right? Yeah, like, we're following him, just like trying to figure it out. Like, he's getting a little sus about this. Yeah,
I understand now.
that is a 6 on his insight, so he's a little suspect on this. And as he's like, oh, it's up in this alcove here, let me go get it. You can, like, at a certain point, you get the realization that he's going a lot slower than he needs to. And then when he comes back down, he claims that that they only have poems and stories about it, but they don't have any histories. And you can make an insight check against this old bird if you'd like.
Sure, I've got insight to spare. 16?
That does not beat his deception check, which rolled a natural 20.
Oh,
He might be old, but he's told a story or two in his time.
All right, I can swing this.
Okay. Yeah, so Caelum, yeah, you were handed stories, you were handed poems. Some of them are, like, very old drawings. But as you kind of, like, spread them out in front of you, eventually, make a investigation check.
Sure. 23.
A 23. Okay, so Atris may have gone out of his way to present you with the loosest tidbits that he possibly could about this, but the things that he still presented weren't necessarily untrue or falsehoods, but just incredibly cryptic. And looking through it, you can tell that while the Aarakocra speak in Orin, which is a primordial language, this is like an ancient version of Orin, so it's an even farther away dialect that you're able to piece together. Like, the etymology of words isn't the same. Like, it's different than what you're trying to figure out as far as the overall process goes, but at least you are able to figure out some things. Specifically, is that the poem states that the cavern itself was more so a meeting place that it was a point of a convergence of sorts between the mortals and the ones beyond. When the one that became many attempted to reach through this convergence, they were met with laughter. And it was through this laughter that shook the one who would be many to their core. And it was through this laughter that all those who walked with this woman, with this man, became worms. In another one of the stories that you were able to parse through, you find that Wormcrawl Cavern, as it states, is not only a... Wormcrawl Cavern is not a singular cavern. It's not a singular meeting place, necessarily. Is there an altar? Yes. Is there a point where ritual was performed? Yes. But the story does not state where necessarily that is, at what point along this cavern, where it might be. But it instead states that you will know by its sickening aura.
Atris, what you call Wormcrawl Cavern now, is it essentially infested with this worm spawn, or is it just a colloquial name you've given it after the ritual?
Both.
Gross. Okay.
Not only worm spawn, there is the colloquialism, but they effectively make a perception or make a persuasion check again, because he's not super on board with you asking about all of this.
Yep. Go Caelum, go Caelum, go. 19.
Hey, it's your birthday.
It is my birthday.
And Atris kind of seeing, like he's a storied old bird, but the insight that is gained through his years, short as they are, is immeasurable to a mystic, to one such as him. And he's able to see that there is that, like, okay, this kid's not asking to be like, oh, by the way, if I accidentally redo the thing, like, would you be mad though? Like, would you be mad? I'm just a little guy. Like, there's not like that kind of, there's not that level of indifference that comes from you about this. Like, this is of concern, and he can see that. He can get that reading from you. And when he finally understands that, what was your question again? Sorry. The coffee kicked in and really just like, bang.
Shit, what was my question again? I asked if this was a colloquial term for the
After that.
caves. After that, fuck, what did I ask?
Noctua, you're the archivist. Tell us.
Noctua!
Oh, if it is infested with worms.
Infested with
Thank
worms.
you. God, I love you so much, Noctua. So,
You're amazing.
Thank you. So yeah, Caelum, you ask if this is infested with worms, and Atris informs you that it is. There are creatures that exist within the cavern that, if they were to ever make their way to see the light, to be in the sun once again, that these worms would not shrivel and die in the sun as worms standard from the ground would be. These worms would form together to create an impenetrable blackness that would seek to turn everything that is not a worm into worms.
Have you been able to map out these caverns?
And Atris shakes their head no.
If-
They went so far as to one of the first chambers that they encountered. And while the people of the Brightwardens, those within the Suns, pride themselves on their prowess as warriors, on their steadfast nature, with their of pride. Even their strongest warrior was put at such unease that they could not continue past the standing stone. And so they set traps, returning back to the entrance that they had found to this cave. So even if anything were to happen with them, that they would at least be sure that they could prevent others from reaching this point. And they have maps of the traps up to the first chamber with the standing stone.
When you say standing stone, do you mean something like, and Caelum will pull out his notebook and sketch a waystone?
He nods.
Oh. Oh no. Atris, do you have a map of this island that you can spare?
Atris nods and he'll fly up, retrieve a map, and he unfurls it and has to dust off some of the schmutz that's on there because they haven't had a need to use this map in a while, but he at least sets it.
I'm going to alter this map. For some general purposes, maybe some worm clearing. Is that okay?
You returned the Prince of the First Sun. Consider it yours. There are other maps. Not as updated as this one, but there are others. There always will be.
Caelum opens his portable hole, reaches in, and pulls out essentially a pendant that he got from Archmage Stonemantle.
Okay.
And he's going to begin the worm detection process to try and fill out the map in the caverns. If it's infested, they can get... He's thinking it might map out the caverns with this mass of worms under the island.
Okay. Do you know the Mind Spike spell necessary for the utilization of this process?
I do not.
Okay. So,
Could I try to
Caelum,
jerry-rig something with Arcana?
what kind of spell, what kind of ability do you have that you feel would benefit the use of tracking an interdimensional mass of worms from space to the plane that you are currently on?
Caelum has gotten intimate with some of these worms. He's seen objects and detected magic, so maybe if he can fine-tune a detect magic to the resonance weave inside of these worms.
It's getting funky. I'll allow it. Make an Arcana check. It's going to be real high DC, though.
All right, let's go!
And also, for that, do you have a worm that you would be able to use in the locket still? Because that was one of the material components that you would need.
I'm thinking. Because I know we used it once on the map so that we can check out the Dragon Forge. My memory's bad.
That was with the help of Archmage Stonemantle, who had given you the map
with-
afterward.
Right. So, Noctua says Alindra cast it twice.
Yes.
So, I'll leave it up to you, honestly. This is a yes/no on your account.
Yeah, I would say that without the proper tracking materials, without having a bit that you can get, because it was nail through the worm, blood from the worm that was then able to track it without having that central part of the material component to use this as a tracking, you're fairly certain that this wouldn't be able to activate itself. If you were like, if you could meet with Alindra, get a worm somehow, like if you could figure out any other way.
I mean, there's an easy way to get a worm.
There's quite an easy way to get mini worms.
Yeah, Caelum's not gonna do that though. 25 on the Arcana for like a baseline of the detect magic.
You just know that there are some magical scrolls within this room, and the map that you have is also magical. But looking at it and getting a general feel for it, you're guessing that most of these scrolls that are magical have like the properties of an enduring spell book.
Mm-hmm. Wait a minute. I have Galder's Speedy Courier.
And Atris does not know what that is.
I could essentially send this map to a friend and they can try and update it to see what the caverns look like underneath.
She doesn't have a worm.
Oh, she doesn't have a worm.
No, you guys used the remaining worms that you...
I would have to send the map and a worm to her.
Yes, but the reason why you'd be sending that map to her in the first place is because you don't have the worm.
Right.
And Caelum, as you were like trying to figure out how you can map this without having to go in there firsthand to do so, that is where we're going to go into our break for the evening. So we're going to try and be back in 5 to 10 minutes. Don't go no place unless it's to grab a food, grab a drink, grab a friend, or possibly go to indooradventure.redbubble.com. Pick yourself up something nice, and we'll see you guys shortly. All right, everybody. See you soon. There, I hit the right button. Hey, RJ! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to you!
Show you.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, dear RJ!
RJ!
Happy birthday to you! Yay!
Hey, Simon.
Oh, what?
You know what'd be the greatest birthday gift of all?
What?
Run the ad.
And the ad, I don't have it ready.
God damn it.
I don't have it ready on this one. It's not on this layout.
Damn it.
I have to do a whole thing. It's fine. We'll run.
I'll just go on TikTok and watch it again.
Yeah, give me them
Hey.
views.
Do you have any need for a notebook? Maybe a customizable one. Perhaps one where you can keep your character notes and or deeds.
Character
Oh.
notes.
I got it. Hold on. I wonder if this gets picked up.
First up, has this ever happened to you? You simply carrying.
Wait, if I do this,
No, can't see it.
Too bright.
It's too bright.
No.
that's your problem.
No.
Ryan.
Super secret
Oh,
notes,
God.
loose post-its, concert tickets for your anniversary, business receipts.
For all you audio cast listeners, RJ is
Ribbons
putting his
you've been
phone
on before, wedding invitations,
up to
interpretive drawing you
the
made about
screen.
that dream you had about a mouse who survived a game of mousetrap, or stickers. Well, get ready because I have just the thing.
It's okay. We can talk about, look, the important
We
part
didn't get to
is
the part about the cat's bat mitzvah.
it's important.
They gotta go on the TikTok and watch it themselves.
Just, if you're curious about my TikTok, it's at Indoor Adventures. Who would have thought? That's called succinct branding.
Wow.
Society.
But again, go to shop.therookandtheraven.com. Save yourself 15% off your overall purchase with the code HYPEGOBLIN. You can get a cool customizable journal like this one, but not exactly like this one because this cover that I have, it's not for sale anymore. You can't get that one. This one's just for me. But they have other ones that are super cool, so go and check that out. But we have returned. We are back from our break. The chaos is dwindled. Again, happy birthday, RJ. And hey, speaking of, Caelum, you were in the process of trying to figure out the best way for this magic spell, trying to figure it all out as best you can. Gwen, you just challenged the leader, or the Kingsguard, Hylan, to a bout of fun combat. And at this point, I would say that this is when, after enough time has gone by, that you hear the ring-a-ling to let you all know that the feast is ready. And coming from the lower part of the Shimmering Airy, Gwen, Xiao, Cori, Arjhan, Mai, Hylan, and many of the individuals here begin to make their way up to the feast hall. And Caelum, you and Atris hear, or at least you hear, the feast bell ring. Atris is like takes a little bit and then, oh, okay, that's what that was. And then he seems a little bit more on board with that as well. So you are all able to then make your way up to said feast hall, and you can see that it is not a singular hall. It is like several rooms on different floors that have been catered and presented, but the food that you see is not necessarily it's not bountiful by any means. It's as there is enough that it can be considered a feast, but it doesn't, it definitely looks like we shall have a feast, and then it's mostly just like simple stews, that kind of thing. It is a feast in name only, and as Shao had told you, their family, the Brightwardens as a whole, typically only ever have feasts when they have won a great battle, and a feast in proper has not been had in quite some time. The four of you are actually set up in a guest of honor style seating. So it is the four of you, Mai, Shao, Aisha, and then on the other side of Aisha is Hylan and Atris, who made a point that he says, with the Goliath suggestion, he was to sit next to the Caelum. And so this old bird man is sitting in between Cori and who would normally sit next to Cori at such an event? Or Cori, would you sit on the edge?
God, it really could be anyone. It could be literally anyone. Let's say the edge. Let's make it easy.
Okay, yeah, so it goes Cori, Atris, May, or Mai. And so the feast begins. And again, it is one of those, the food is good. It's actually, really good for what they have. It seems like Swift as the 10 Winds was really able to kind of kick this up a notch and present a sizable feast for what little things that he had. I just want to check here real quick to make sure. Okay, yeah, if you guys were missing any hit points at this current point of time, you would have been able to regain 1d8 hit points because of his chef feat, but sadly, that is not the case, and it seems as though Swift, again, is kind of busy in the kitchen at this point. He's not... The chef does not eat with everyone else at a feast. They are making sure that there is still more food to be presented. And Gwen, you have challenged the captain of the guard to combat, and at this point, Hylan, as the initial course, this initial round, and enough people are here, Hylan is willing to challenge you. She's ready to face off
Yes.
against you. Okay.
All right. What are the rules?
So the rules, she says first to the knee.
First to the knee.
Question.
Yes.
Captain of the guard. I'm assuming also Eric Okra.
Yes. Yep,
She's
they
the
just look like an
eagle?
eagle instead of a hawk.
All right. Gwen starts.
Gwen, drink this.
Oh, what is it? What is it?
It is not mead or wine this time, and he's holding out his horn, his drinking horn.
Okay. Is this an enhancer?
Yes. And not.
I don't want to cheat.
If you're worried about flying, it's a potion of flying.
Oh my god. Gwen drinks it. She's gonna try not to use it, but if she needs it, she needs it.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. And you see that Hylan has a spear with them. And it's actually, it wouldn't be a spear, it'd be a halberd. And they look like they stand roughly around 30 feet away from you. They explain first to the knee, which at your guessing is going to be roughly like bloodied. But because we don't want to necessarily have to do like a PvP back and forth style combat, these are going to be some contested checks.
Okay.
So the weapon that you were using is going to be your
Runtax.
the runtax with the attached chain.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good.
But I'm probably not gonna. I don't want to like slash her. So it's gonna be no. I'm gonna use the Sun Forger because that's a hammer.
Okay,
That'll be better.
sounds good.
For like non-lethal damage. Yeah,
But
Gwen.
they're bird bones.
I know, but I'm gonna do non-lethal shit, and we
It's
gotta heal her.
fine.
So
But
Fine.
they're
What?
bird bones.
what? I know.
Think about the birds.
Gwen's gonna say, should we warn them about like Grayskull?
No, it'll be fun.
All right, fuck it, let's go.
Let's fucking rage!
Yeah. So as the fight begins, Gwen does tiny rage.
Okay.
And summons Grayskull.
Make an intimidation check with advantage.
Okie dokie. Oh, that's terrible. That's a filthy 20.
Okay, filthy 20. That's hey. Even if you say that's terrible, that's still
The first one was 11.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That is still more than Hylan was able to get to withstand the effects of your intimidation. And you can see like she strikes a solid pose against you in the form of the guard, but you like Gwen, you can tell her footing's a little bit off, and Caelum actually will inform you like, oh, like she's like effectively she's already lost.
Caelum nods his head like, yeah, you hesitate, you die.
Yeah, Gwen will charge forward.
Okay, make an athletics check for me.
Okay. Since I'm raging, this is at advantage. Jesus Christ. It's another filthy 20. My first one, I have plus 11. I rolled a 13.
Oh boy. What did you roll for the second one?
Dirty 20.
Okay, dirty 20. Okay, so you rush forward with the Sun Forger, and you can see that, like, not only were they intimidated by, like, big old ghost spirit, and, like, there's, like, murmurs throughout the crowd of just, like, oh my, what the fuck is that? Like, they've never seen anything like this before. And then you rush forward, and it is clear, almost instantaneously, that Hylan has not faced off against someone your size with your tenacity possibly ever. And you are able to just like get right past her defenses and just boom, like slam into her with your hammer for your entire attack action. Like you can tell like she's like shuddered because of it. So then she is going to like kind of like swat at you with the butt end of her staff, with the butt end of her halberd, and then try and do a more of like a slash while she disengages. So to defend against this, make an acrobatics check or athletics because you're raging.
I'm going to choose to fail this.
Okay. Yeah, she slashes out against you, and like Gwen, like it's a clean cut. It's good. It's methodical. It's trained. Like she's seen battle, but you've been to the hells. You've met your deity. Like her attack while solid, like there's like blood like coming off your chest and you're just like, nice, good
Yes!
cut. And it's like, oh, what the fuck is this? Like there's that moment of like, I have made a mistake. That is what, like, you can see Hyland, like, in the inner workings of this Aarakocra being experienced in real time. And they get, they, like, fly up and they are 20 feet away from where you are.
Okay. Gwen is going to send her Echo out. She's going to send, he's going to be behind her. Well... Okay, I don't want to wreck this place because I could vamp up to her. No,
I mean, technically, you still have the potion of flying as well.
That's true. Okay, I'm gonna try to do the thing that she would normally do. She's gonna send the Echo up and attack with the Echo.
Okay. Yeah, and she will. Make an athletics check. This one will be at just flat. Because you are like the Echo is attacking, not necessarily you. And ooh, that's a natural one. She's not used to fighting tiny people and ghosts all at once.
I rolled a 20.
Okay, so so Grayskull like just appear, like you send him, and like I imagine that like he shoots through her as a spectral entity. And just like Gwen, since you're the only one that can hear Grayskull, he says, "Got your back," and then boom, like spectral axe comes in and like Hyland like tilts a little bit, and like you can tell like this is going way faster than Hyland anticipated, and she is out of her depth. But like Aisha, as he's watching and like is just like, oh my god, like his like brows are furrowed of like, that's my strongest fighter. What have you? And like Xiao's like, I told you, they're incredible.
Gwen will use her bonus action to swap places with her Echo, and she's gonna grapple the wings of Hyland to bring her down.
Okay, yeah. Make a athletics check.
That's terrible. That's a 16.
Natural 20.
Bam!
So, like, you swap, and, like, after the slash comes in, and Hyland now expects something from behind, there's just, like, that quick, like, she's too fast when you go to grab onto the wings, and she just, like, looks at you like, you were down there, like, what the fuck is this? And, like, Grayskull's now on the ground, just like, yeah, what's up? Like,
Gwen will
and you were just still, like, floating in the air?
Yeah.
Madness.
Gwen is just giggling. Like... She's loving this. But very, very respectable of what has been done. I think what should I do next?
Gwen, make an insight check.
Okay. +0. Let's go. 8.
An 8?
Yeah.
Fuck it. You're having fun. This is great.
Yeah. She will, oh boy. I mean, it's pretty much just attack, huh? So Gwen will try to bring down her hammer again.
Okay.
Okay. Athletics?
Yeah.
There we go. That's a 26.
Okay. That is much more, than Hyland. So this is to Hyland the blow that would put her to the knee. What does it look like when you are in the air and just playing whack-a-mole with a bird?
I think it's that whole anime thing of when like someone gets like kicked down and they kind of like flop. There's kind of like a wave and they just like flop down. And as she plummets to the ground, Gwen will go and catch her before she, or have Grayskull catch her before she hits the ground, and like kind of do a soft landing on it.
Okay, yeah. Roll another insight check, this time with advantage as this happens, and like the crowd is just like stunned watching.
That's a double natural 20. I rolled 2 natural 20s.
Buy yourself a lotto ticket after this. Hell yeah.
No, Jesus.
Gwen, There is a lot of injured pride in this room right now.
Oh boy.
Hyland is not feeling great. She was talking mad shit a minute ago, and then a halfling transported themselves through the air and just like bap down. And then not only did you defeat them, but you did not even offer them the grace of taking the full blow onto the ground. You had Grayskull catch them and then like right them up, and you can like there is like, if like the feathers are like frilled out, and there's just this like deep breathing, and she looks over towards Aisha, and Aisha is just like gives this motion like you said to the knee.
Gwen floats down and she's like looking at her chest and she's like, holy shit, normally nobody can touch me. That was fucking awesome. Puts her arm up.
You can tell there's that moment where like she really just wants to leave you hanging, but there are too many onlookers for her.
Yeah.
And there is a precedent that you need to be nice to the saviors of her prince. So she she looks away from you as she like accepts the hand. And under her, like very quietly mumbled, just oozing with this like disdain, you fight very well.
Gwen will like point to Zhao and say, your greatest warrior has drawn blood from the chieftain of the Tread Thunder clan. This is an auspicious day, or like this is a big thing.
Yeah.
Trying to help.
Yeah, and like Xiao then like turns to his father and like kind of translates a little bit, and his dad just like, oh, okay, yeah, I see that this is a big deal. Like, and then like he stands up and then announces that the fight is over, that the warriors from afar have proven their might. Feast on. And everyone like cheers at now having had dinner and a show. And the entire time that this was happening, like near a window, kind of like leaning up, Swift as the 10 Winds has been smoking out of a pipe, just like
Yeah.
like gives like a thumbs up, like fuck yeah, like Alira represent.
Yeah. I think if Gwen will like motion for Hyland to because Hyland doesn't speak Common very well.
No.
You
have never heard her speak Common, actually.
Yeah. She'll go say like let's go talk to Zhao and just say can you let her know that I am new to the ability of flight, and I've been wanting to train against someone who is flying and learn tactics from them? Do you think that she would, maybe not now, but
yeah, and Xiao was like, now is not the time for that.
Yeah.
Not the time. Like, give her a few days.
Yeah.
To recover her pride. And then maybe, if not, my father makes an excellent teacher.
Yeah. But yeah, she is she tries to be as complimentary as possible, and then starts drinking because it's Gwen.
Yeah.
Really quick,
Sure.
Caelum's going to update the non-drinking party members.
I imagine this is happening like while the fight's happening. The three of you are just like, she's got this. Anyways, like
We trust in Gwen. We trust.
yeah.
I did a little digging in the library. The caverns underneath this place are a point of ingress for essentially multiple dimensions. There's a waystone here underneath the city.
You don't say.
And apparently the caverns are filled with worms.
Well, I kind of gathered that from the name.
I assumed it was just a nomenclature for, posterity's sake, but I had the idea, Arjhan, if we can do what Archmage Stonemantle did with the worms for Alira, maybe we would have a shot at mapping out the caverns before, if we need to go down there.
Well, I suppose if the caverns are as filled with worms as we think they are, that would do a very fine job of mapping out the caverns.
The only bad thing is I don't have a worm or the necessary spell to complete the location charm.
Well, perhaps this warrants a scouting mission? What do you think, Arjhan?
I am confused why we... If there are worms in the caverns...
There might be something related to Caius down there.
Right, why would we not just exterminate all the worms?
That is an option, but I don't want to go in there blind. Also, the caverns apparently branch and twist. We don't know where this altar is located, where Caius tried to, well, became who he is, essentially. This cavern is where it started.
I mean, if I get close, those of us who can detect specific creatures should be able to have a pretty good idea of where all the worms are.
Alright, that's fair. My concern is, sometimes when I use detect magic, if the quality of the item that I'm using, it blinds me a little from just how much powerful it is. If there are as many worms as there are down there, there might be a little feedback when you do that.
Is there anything we can do about that? Magical blinders.
That'll take me some time to come up with something.
So either you can track down the spell that... What's her name?
Archmage Stone Handle.
Used, or... we just fight worms.
We're going to fight worms either way.
Expedite the process? I can slot in some fire-based spells. I remember they didn't take too kindly to that.
Alright, I think that we can all do something akin to that.
Is this the next thing that we're going to do?
The very next thing that we're going to do is get a good night's rest, hopefully. And I'm going to be doing that in a vineyard, I think.
Well, the very next thing I would like whoever can speak the language to do is discuss our situation. We have a couple of... They have a couple of enemies that we are also very interested in. I know I would very much like to find the Lady of Scales, who's apparently allied herself with these night owls.
That seems to be more of the pressing issue. We can shelve the cavern for now.
Alright. Well, I'd be happy to translate for you, Arjhan, if you want to go and negotiate that.
My concern is I do not want to be conscripted into an army for a war that is not mine.
Would you...
So
And the
I would
king
like to.
here does seem to be very insistent on a lot of things. And we are making quite the impression. Cori, like, looks out at the fight, which is probably just concluded.
Yeah, it is just like you watch Gwen again do the anime chop down. Bird plummets to the ground and then is caught by Grayskull, who writes them up, and then there is like the cheers, all of that happen as Gwen comes back.
I'm going to recommend that we get Zhao in on this conversation, and hopefully he can pull for us a little bit.
Well, Zhao, you're right next to us, hearing everything that we say, and understand the language pretty well.
And Zhao, who is several steps away, when you say his name and like address him, just like, oh, oh. And he puts a hand on his father's shoulder and then comes over and just, I'm sorry, what?
Explain to your father our situation that we previously discussed.
The short explanation, we are here for the Lady of Scales and not to fight in your war.
Yes.
But can coordinate our efforts.
Yes. This I can do. Once this feast is wrapped up, my father would also... You all wanted to speak with him.
I thought this was the time. Apparently it's not. Okay. Great.
You had requests that you wish to ask of him?
That was my request.
So this is the... Okay. Were there any other requests?
Mine can wait until we come back.
And he will nod, and Xiao will go over to Aisha and inform him that now that the combat is done, now that most of the feasting is done, that he should hear out that you all would like to effectively have a word with him. And Aisha nods and then excuses himself from the feast and effectively calls that it should continue on. And you see Aisha and then one of the Aarakocra that was sitting on his left side also rises. Xiao rises, and Xiao will kind of like tussle Mai's hair, and she just like bats it away, like her wings flap up a little bit. She doesn't like that shit, and Xiao knows that because he's her older brother. But at that, Gwen, you like just get a cup to drink something out of, and then you see like your party's like, okay, like let's go talk to Aisha. Like you can bring your cup with you, or just like a quick slam, set the cup down.
She'll sip because this is probably important.
And yeah, your group is taken to like following Aisha. It is not necessarily an adjacent room to the feast hall. It's down a few hallways until eventually you reach a room that has a large centralized table in it. That there are no chairs necessarily. It looks like this is strategic, like specifically like a strategic style table. And looking along the walls, you can see that there are much larger maps of Orzaris that seem to line, and then there are like there are different brush strokes that seem to go from like different points and intersect and all of that. But at this point, Aisha asks the four of you, or at least says, my son has, or rather, again, I would owe you my thanks for saving my son, and the Goliath of your party was very skilled in combat. It was quite enjoyable to see. My thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a joy to perform again. Haven't fought one-on-one in a long time.
He nods, and like at this point, like Highland comes in and like shuts the door, and like she's the captain of the guard, like she needs to be here for the king kind of thing. And at this point, Aisha asks, when you first arrived, you asked if there were or you claimed that there were things that you would ask of me, I am listening. And if these things are within my ability to grant to you, I will see it done.
We of the Four Keeps have heard that your enemies have allied with one of our own. We would like to express that we are here for the Lady of Scales. We do not wish to participate in your war, but our goals currently align. So we request cooperation, but not servitude.
But to be clear, we are against the Lady of Scales, just so that's...
Thought I made that clear.
Well, sure.
Do you want to add anything, Arjhan?
Right. I mean, I assume your warriors are still going up against their forces. I was hoping to. And he's just like rubbing his temple, trying to figure out the how to explain himself. If we can cause a distraction, if you could cause a distraction, whoever can help out with this, whoever's your strategizer, if we can work together on something like this. I'm very hesitant to enlist in a war that is not mine.
And Aisha understands that much and says, if you wish to speak to our chief military advisor, there is myself,
chief military advisor,
to coordinate, not to join forces, as you have made clear. There is myself, and there is Khan. And he will motion to the other Aarakocra, the previously unnamed Aarakocra that had come in, and Khan gives a bow. If you are wishing to speak of battle strategy, that sort of thing, Khan is much more a point of contact for you in this matter.
Is Khan in the room?
Yeah, Khan's right there. Right next to him. And Khan, he... trying to think of what kind of bird that he looks like. Like, he has very dark feathers. Like, this is much more, like, not necessarily like a bald eagle where it has, like, the white head, but it has more of, like, the brownish coloration to it. Just like a more traditional style eagle.
Well, if we need to decide what we're gonna do I know a bit about battle strategy, so I want to help, but I think that we need to decide what we're gonna do, and then I can kind of help. Like, we're not taking sides in this war, but if I can help.
Our goals, to a degree, align.
Right.
Is this correct? Says Aisha.
Yes.
Yes. We
Then
may
I
be
ask,
able to remove the Lady of Scales as a problem.
Then I would ask of you, for keeps, would you entertain the idea of forming a temporary alliance, as our goals are again aligned in some degree?
Yes, that's what we're suggesting.
Yes, we do.
We're just...
Yes.
I also understand this is not your war, and shall, like, but father, and he, like, quiets his son again very quickly. And there is a look followed by a quick quip in Orin very quietly. That is, when you are commander of the First Light, then it will be your call. But for now, I am commander. And Shao quickly puts his head down a little bit, like he has been put in his place by his father in front of his friends and people that he admires. And Aisha says, if it is a distraction, an insurgency, your assistance would be greatly appreciated. Let it be known that we do not require your help to win this war. But any assistance that you would provide to us would be appreciated.
Great. Where is the Lady of Scales?
As far as we are aware, the Lady of Scales operates in a laboratory near the castle of the Nightsworn.
Which is where?
On the northern side of the island, deep within the jungle.
Oh, Caelum pulls out a map and unfurls it.
And Aisha will, he will give a solid direction as to where this is.
Are you currently trying to assault the laboratory?
Our current mode of operation has at this point regrettably been to defend. We have not been on the assault in generations. Not since before my grandfather's time.
How far is it to this castle from here?
I'm trying to think, because they wouldn't necessarily measure in miles. They would go by fly distance. But that doesn't translate well per mileage.
It kind of would. Caelum does have a fly speed at points, so he can do the math.
He would let you know that it is...
knots?
Yeah.
How many days in flight?
Yeah, as far as days of flight, it would be roughly... If you were going to try and not make yourself known, if you're trying to be stealthy about it, it would be roughly 3 days flight.
Which would be somewhere between 6 days of walking, about a week.
And Aisha nods and says, and that is without any of the Nightsworn setbacks, without encountering any of their forces. Making the best time, if traveling by foot, you could shave maybe a day, possibly 2 if you travel quickly enough.
Can you see the fortress from here?
They shake their head no.
Okay.
Aisha also explains that their fortress is built into a crater.
Ooh.
So it doesn't protrude above the tree line.
That's gonna be an expenditure of spells, but I could get a lay of the land if I fly up high enough.
If it's a week's journey, getting up high, you're probably gonna go past the point where you'll be able to see.
See, yeah. Okay. A small team, us included, goes in for an assault. We don't want to separate the main force here, leaving your palace unguarded.
Aisha nods.
Would it be better if we just did our thing?
Strike team,
Shock troops?
shock troops.
I mean,
I'm-
if we just go in and remove a commander from the field without having to worry about any casualties.
Yeah, basically what we're talking about is having us go behind enemy lines in secret to take out the leader without having to engage the forces.
And in your instance, the leader would not be Nobu. It would be the Lady of Scales.
Yes, so in this instance, it would not be the technical leader, but the power behind the throne.
Understandable.
Okay. If this Nobu does get in our way, though, he will go down like the Lady of Scales will.
And you can see that Aisha is a bit more tentative in accepting that as fact, but Xiao again just has this like Aisha looks at Xiao and Xiao has this like, no, like they can do this. And Aisha nods at his son's discretion and then nods at the four of you. Then
If I'm recalling correctly, the Good Doctor and the Lady of Scales are working together?
that is correct, yes. Then for our alliance, we will provide as much food, weapons, instruments of war as we can to assist you that we have. And should you need capable fighters, our sons are not without.
It may be that we are going to be drawing a lot of attention to ourselves. Which means you may have an opening with other forces around. You may wish to take that opportunity as it arises.
I would wait for our signal, though. I wouldn't want any of your fighters caught in what essentially is going to be a very loud entrance.
And
Not quite subtle.
I mean, we may be going into 6 days of fighting, cutting a swath through to the laboratory.
Though knowing us, it'll probably last about 2 minutes. Tops.
And Aisha, like, he looks at you and you can see that there is that, like, he has been fighting this war since the day that he was born, and you saying, like, don't worry, it'll take, like, 2 minutes tops. There is this, like, look of, like, oh, you sweet summer child that he gives to you.
Doesn't
And
know that there's a literal nuclear bomb in the room.
yeah, he just, it's nuclear bomb, it's ×2. And he says, then let us know when you plan on the assault. Let us know what the signal will be, and we will stage our assault there. As allies.
Oh, You know what? Thinking about it, exploding the terrain might make Tylera run.
I need to... Yeah, I don't need that. I don't need Tylera to just be ganked outright.
Right.
I still don't know what exactly I need to do with her.
Should we take her to the Hells?
No.
Oh.
Infiltration, then? We try and set up a line of questioning with Tylera?
I don't know. I need to talk to my god.
Okay.
We just if Tiamat has any
I mean, I told Tiamat that I was here, but she hasn't said anything.
if she has any insight as to like what she can do, because if she can just bamf out of this plane or like teleport or some shit, we're gonna need to know that ahead of time. Because I can hold a bitch for I can hold someone for days, but like if she can just magic her way out of it, then that's not something I can do. Jesus Christ, these kittens are going insane.
I could cancel interdimensional travel and teleportation, essentially. I won't have all my faculties, but, you know, y'all can rein me in.
Just don't get any older, okay?
Oh no, I was planning to transform into one of those critters that stopped me from bamfing around.
Huh. That might work.
Your references are lost on the Aarakocra.
We've got a certain set of skills.
I'm the punchy one. They're the magic ones.
As my son has informed me.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to start making our way there tonight? Starting tonight.
I'd be down. Gwen finishes her cup. It's good.
Give us a 3-day head start.
Aisha nods. And on the map, he points to a section of wood and says, "We will meet you here." Or we will be waiting here. Not necessarily meeting you, but we will wait for your signal.
I think it might be best if we take a guide with us as well.
And Aisha nods and says that they will find you a guide.
Arjhan, can I have 8 hours before we leave?
Yes.
Excellent. Zhao, I very quickly need you to tell me where the center of your agricultural fields are.
Yeah, and Xiao will nod, and he'll point on the map that it's not too far away from the location marked as the Shimmering Area.
Excellent. Have we finished negotiations?
Aisha
Yes.
asks, "Have you?"
I mean, there really wasn't a lot of negotiations. I just wanted to get on the same page that our assistance is very temporary.
As far as what requires translations. Otherwise, Zhao knows common, he can take care of that much, right?
Zhao nods.
Excellent.
Xiao, I need to know one thing. Sorry. These Nightsworns. You say they're your mortal enemy, correct?
Xiao nods.
Did you ever stop and think there might be innocence among them?
Xiao pauses when you say this and looks to his father and asks his father, "May I speak freely?" And his father nods. And then Xiao, with permission from his father, says, "As is true in any war, from the studies that I have done under Atris's supervision, there will always be innocents. There will always be those who are caught between the arrows. This is something that will weigh heavily on us. Are all members of the Nightsworn my mortal enemy? No. Is Nobu the bane of our family's existence? Yes. To remove Nobu, however, would only give rise to another member of the Nightsworn to take his place, to ensure complete victory. We will need to remove any member of power that the Nightsworn have and occupy their area to show them the way of the Brightwardens. We will provide food as best we can. We will create a haven if we can. Our goal is to not destroy all Nightsworn. And his father, has a little bit of a maybe though. And Xiao says, our goal is to defeat our enemy. And so long as Nobu is in power, as he has for the last 80 years, then we will continue to fight against him.
80 years.
And Xiao nods.
I'd always assumed that they were Aarakocra like you.
And at this point, Aisha speaks and says, the Owlin are not Aarakocra as we are. They are not of the Brightwardens. They are something else. Typically, our lifespans are in tandem. They are similar. Whatever Nobu has gained, whatever power that they have come upon, they have outlived generations of the First Light. And if they have their way, they will see the light diminish.
I've got some things to think on then. If you all need me, I'll be getting to know Hiram more. Caelum gives a weak smile as he gives a bow to the First Light, dismissing himself, if that's proper.
Yeah. Now, in the First Light as well, both Xiao and Aisha will bow to you.
When do you have anything else to talk about?
I mean, I'd just like to see maps, as many maps as I can, to just kind of get a lay of the land.
And with that, Khan says, if your friend requires additional hours of rest, we may confer.
We will need to rest, but we'll be making our way there in the morning.
And the members of this small council nod in agreement.
All right.
Okay, and then Gwen, if Khan will begin making his way out, kind of open the door for you, for the both of you to make your way out, leaving Cori, Arjhan, with Xiao, Aisha, and Hylan. And
Cori already left.
Cori already left. That is correct. So yeah, Arjhan, it is.
Caelim's about to leave.
Yep, and
So
Gwen is
Arjhan
on.
was going to leave whenever Gwen left, but
Okay, yeah.
hopefully to wherever we're staying for the night.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, if you were directed to the place where you were staying for the night, rooms have been prepared for you. And you can see that this is kind of like a guest quarters. It's not like you don't have individual rooms. It is just one larger room with 4 beds that are like sparsed throughout it. And it doesn't look like these beds have been used very often, as the Aarakocra don't traditionally sleep in the style of beds. From what you've seen, theirs is more of like almost like a hammock. Like it's easier for them to pose their wings in non-standard, just flat beds. And when you arrive, Swift is there, having come from the feast, and he just sort of waves at you and just, it's not every day that you get to go and speak with the commander of the First Light, Nya. Is everything all right?
Yeah, everything's great. We're on a bit of a mission.
Well,
You know how adventuring goes.
I do. As a matter of fact, I used to do quite a bit of it back in my day, Nya.
Yeah, I know that. I know, but now you're on the spice trade. Might be a little over your head if you were thinking about joining us.
Are you trying to goad me into joining your adventure, Nya?
I would never be so bold as to think I could trick you, Swift.
And Swift's eyes sort of like narrow, and he has that just like that tuxedo cat, just like little
Yeah.
like cat smile. And he says, tell me, Nya, do you have a chef amongst your group?
Oh. I mean, not of the 4 keeps. I think our boat has a chef. You know what? Our boat doesn't have a chef.
If you're asking me to join your sailing crew, I might consider it, yeah.
Well, I think traveling with the great Swift is going into battle might be a bit of an ask. I was trying to goad you, but I think it's a bit much going forward. As much as I would love to go on an adventure with you, we're dealing with some shit.
And Swift nods, and you see that he reaches, like, he begins to exit the room, and he reaches the door frame, and you see that he sort of like puts one hand onto his hip and another onto his chin, and his tail starts swishing a little bit. And he says, I once heard tale that the hottest peppers in all of Alestria grew at the center in the land of the flying blades, Nya.
That would be quite the find if you could get in there.
Yes, it would bring grandeur and promise to anyone who were to bring them back to the mainland, Nya.
Lots of money too, I bet.
Quite a bit indeed.
Yeah, but to get there, you'd have to be very quiet and swift.
And you see that the head sort of tilts back as the 10 wins, one might say.
Perhaps all of them.
I have a question for you, former bouncer, now chieftain of the Tread Thunder clan.
Yeah.
Do you know what the 10 winds are?
You know, I feel like I asked you once when I was drunk, and I have no idea what you said.
And he laughs to himself. And he says, there are the 4 cardinal directions. North, south, east, west. And then there are the 4 directions that exist in between.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are 2 other winds that many do not pay attention to. There's the wind that is at your back, pushing you forward. And there's the wind in front of you that prevents you from trying to make any attempt. And I am faster than all of them.
That's a pretty good sell.
And he winks at you. And he turns and says, but alas, my adventuring days are behind me. Turns out, swift as the 10 winds simply isn't the adventurer that they used to be. However, and as his tail sort of like curls out of frame, he says, perhaps this is a job for the seeker of the finest.
Gwen's just like sitting to herself. God damn it, he always knows how to make such a good exit. Goes to find Arjhan.
Yeah, Arjhan's not too far away.
Yeah. Arjhan, can we bring Swift with us, please?
Oh my god, I'm praying, Gwen.
I'm sorry. Do you want me to play my flute?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Just got caught up in that exit. Damn. Okay. I'm gonna go talk to. I'll be in my room.
You're in your room.
Fuck.
Okay, and Gwen, as you...
Gwen will sit quietly in the corner and not say anything and pretend like she doesn't exist.
Okay. And Arjhan, you continue to pray to Tiamat. Is this kind of asking, like, we're at the place now?
I need to know if the queen... I need to get the queen's guidance again, because it's been a long time.
Okay.
I'm here. She hasn't spoken. I need to know what she wants. And I know whenever things were very, very dire, and our need was great, she was able to get us to a place very, very fast. And if she needs some instant gratification, well, that would be very, very, very nice to have again.
Okay. So yeah, you will be praying on this, and I will get you the answer next week on that, just so that way I can give you a more like in-depth analysis for this prayer, and that's where we'll start with Arjhan next week. And then Cori, you were going to go to the agricultural area, take your rest there. I'm guessing that this is a plant growth spell.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Cori, make a... Actually, no. I'll give this one to you as a little bit of a freebie, something to stew on as Cori casts this plant growth. And Cori, as you are in the process of sitting and waiting out this 8 hours, watching these plants just like get vitalized, not even revitalized. Like you're literally like, ah, yes, finally a green bean has grown on this stalk. You're not sure when the last time it was, but there's a green bean now. Hell yeah. You are thinking of what Hiram had told Caelum about their time, their existence, and this strange thing that was called the gates of the mother. And as you're thinking about that, there is a moment where you think about all the stories that you had heard of Coralon, and about the journeys that Coralon had made to try and tame the primordial archfey, to create the seasons as they are known now, and how Coralon was able to put the spirits of these great and powerful beasts into the rings. And the more that you think about it, and the more that you think about what Hiram describes as the process for the Kadrum, of putting their greatest warriors, their greatest scholars into items, you think that Coralon's journey may have led him to these people. You think that with the understanding that they have of how to create sentient weapons, that you might find some sort of secret or some sort of methodology, understanding as to how that initially came to be, if you were to go to the Kadrum Empire or the drowned ruins thereof.
Interesting. Not stopping the spell for the entirety of the 8 hours. I think Cori will just sort of like turn the ring on his finger and just sort of internally ask, Rife, what do you know about the Kadrum?
Okay. And that will be an answer that you will receive next week when we pick up for our show. So with that, I would like to say thank you to everybody who decided to stop on by and join us for this wonderful session of Dungeons and/or Dragons. I got presents to dole out next week with prayers and questions to ancient archfey. I'm having a blast, but I always have a blast whenever these folks are on the channel, especially our very own birthday boy, RJ. Where can we find you? What do you do? Happy birthday.
Ah, shit, it's still 30 minutes until. Hey, everybody, I'm RJ. You can catch me at RJustice282 on Twitter and Twitch, where I tweet about the nerdy things in my life and sometimes stream with my friends. You can catch me here on Mondays and Sundays. Mondays, of course, as Caelum, the Shatter Kai Wizard. Sundays as Vice, the Tiefling Rogue Warlock. Next time you can see me online, though, is Thursday over at G Game Nights, where we're doing Elegant Creatures, which is an Urban Shadows Good Society hack. It's fun. I'm a specter. I'm doing a ghost thing. We're trying to find out if ghosts and people can bone. It's weird. Saturday is Star Power. Yay! You can catch me and Danae again over at G Game Nights, where we're doing a JoJo Bizarre Adventure inspired campaign where I am a punchy boy named Fang, and we went to somebody's mind palace. We're freeing Jod on Jod. It's Job, right? I can't remember. It's some being of immense power. Jove. Jehovah's Witness. Fuck, that's what it means. Sundays in the mornings, catch me over at the Hype Goblins channel, where we're resuming Nexus Adventures because Satan's back in town. Yay! DanaeKeener.com.
Hello, everybody. I am LBHackEmUp. You can find me at LBHackEmUp on the Twitters and the Twitches. The next time I'm going to be live is at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, where I'm going to be playing some Killer of Dead by Daylight. I'm quite excited to get back into it after playing Survivor all last week. And after that, I will be on GGK. We're doing our Stars Without Numbers game, where I play a mermaid with robot legs. She's amazing. I use my customer service voice as her modulated voice. It's incredible. After that, I will be streaming on Friday night with Lauren. We're doing Song of Horror, which is a super, as long as her computer will do it, because we had a lot of problems with Discord last time. And then we'll be back on Sunday for our finale of our Masks game, where our heroes in training are going to be taking on the big bad, probably, maybe. Yes, definitely. And after that, we're going to be jumping back into our Playthings of the Gods series with a couple new stars. We're going to have Val, the Kraken's Crown, and OMG, it's some guy, Alex, who is going to be joining our band of ladies, ladylike people. And so that's going to be so fun. I have new art done by of course, DanaeKeener.com. And yeah, that's it, DanaeKeener.com.
Oi, I'm Cyber. I'm here on Mondays. That's it for now. DanaeKeener.com.
Everybody, I'm Wings, also known as Danae Keener. You can find me at DanaeKeener.com. I do nerdy drawings, mostly related to D&D and a lot of things on this channel. You can also find me at Danae Keener on Twitter. I've got a pinned tweet there that says my schedule and the Twitch and the thing that I do, and you can see and go there, do that, DanaeKeener.com.
And if you've made it this far, you probably already know who I am, but if you don't, hey Acorns, what's up? It's me, your buddy, your pal, your friend, the Indoor Adventurer, the showrunner here at twitch.tv/Indoor Adventures. We do shows like this on Monday, Thursday, and Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we upload all of our videos where on youtube.com/Indoor Adventures, and we have audio casts available wherever audio casts are being made available for free. And speaking of things that are being made available for free, we are going to be going into our Patreon-supported after show called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from each other but also from the community. So if you have any questions for myself or any of these other fine folk, feel free to join us on patreon.com/Indoor Adventures. You can find the link in the description down below or in the Twitch chat to the side. And again, it's being made all available for free. You don't have to actually put any money towards it, although if you do, that helps with the recurring bills that happen for this channel, so that way we can pay for things like the Adobe products that don't work, but we use them anyway. So with that, I'd like to say thank you to everybody who decided to stop on by. Thank you to these players for putting up with my bullshit again. Happy birthday, RJ. He is gone, and we will see all of you guys next time. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.